If you remember only one thing from this session, remember, a good character is non-negotiable. A wonderful quotation by Bill Hybels says, "Over the years, I have seen that if character issues are compromised, it hurts the whole team and eventually it undermines the mission." Another powerful quotation is, "Leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character. But if you must be without one, be without strategy." Norma Schwarzkopf, who was the former U.S. Army 4-star general. Norma also said, with great wisdom, "The truth of the matter is that you always know the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it." Character issues can affect your destiny and can mar your future. It can weaken you and eat away at your ability to influence. Good, non-negotiable character traits is an outcome of a process. It is who you are when no one is watching. Do you walk in integrity? Do you uphold what is true and just? Do you do what is convenient? Or do you sacrifice truth on the altar of compromise? As I've said over and over again, this journey is important as personal transformation precedes national transformation. Honestly, you really cannot be a change maker or a reformer without a visible journey of personal transformation. It should be apparent to you and it should be apparent to others. Your journey of transformation could be likened to that of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. Like the caterpillar, you leave your old ways and embrace the new creation, and that is the butterfly. Good character is really a sum total of decisions taken in difficult situations that could easily lead to compromise. Let me tell you a personal story. I remember the time I was appointed to serve on the board of one of the largest banks in the country. Being the only woman on the board and by far the youngest, I was in my early 30s, I took this appointment really seriously. To be fully prepared for my first board meeting, a significant amount of research was done. My stomach was all tied up in knots, and it was so bad that I couldn't even eat breakfast. At the meeting, I asked several questions that began to raise issues that showed something was not quite right. These concerns stopped an important contract from being awarded. The meeting came to an end, and it was obvious that someone's plan had gone wrong. The next day, I received a phone call. Someone important was coming to my house, and he wanted to make sure that I was home. Within 30 minutes of that phone call, this very important person, this VIP, arrived with a really huge bag, a suitcase stuffed with money. My jaw dropped and words could not form. I ran into the bedroom to relay every single detail to my husband. The conversation ended when I clearly stated, "We need money, but not this kind of money." The VIP's offer was respectfully but firmly declined, and the message was clear. I could not be bought. Did we need money? Certainly, a resounding yes, we did. Could I take the money? The answer was a loud no. Now, if we take this to a global level, the Singapore story from third world to first world, from 1965 to 2000, constantly draws attention to the importance of infusing a nation's development with strong values. At the swearing-in ceremony of Lee Kuan Yew and his cabinet, they all came dressed in white, the color of purity to represent integrity. They wanted to send a clear message to the Singaporeans that it was no longer business as usual, that the core values of the nation had changed. They also wanted to state clearly that they will work as one in unity. In Lee Kuan Yew's book, there is a vivid and disturbing story of one of the ministers in the cabinet who was accused of corruption. He was suspected of taking a bribe of $81,000. The minister committed suicide. I marvel at this. Why? Because of the many reports of similar charges of corruption in African and South American nations who occupy the bottom positions in terms of corruption on the Transparency International list. Many have been accused of stealing millions of dollars. Very few have been tried, and even fewer have been jailed, let alone commit suicide. The lessons I need you to learn from this is that there's a strategy for getting around every situation that demands a bribe. If you can't get around it, walk away from it, even if it means walking away from millions of dollars. There is a war we are fighting. We are fighting for the heart and soul of our nations. We are fighting against the cancer of corruption, and we can no longer afford to be half-hearted about our stance. Compromise is not on the table. That is why this is a war you cannot fight alone. You need to be part of an army that is forcefully advancing, an army that will stand with you and fight with you. That army needs to arise and take a position. It's about a new identity, and that new identity gives you a lifestyle that differentiates. It's a new identity that is rooted in strong value that makes you stand out. And at this point, we're going to look at the several non-negotiable character traits. Though there are several non-negotiable character traits, there are 7 that I would like to focus on. Unflinching integrity, what I call undiluted honesty, undeniable hard work. The 4th is that you're unmoved by personal gain. The 5th, a quest for order, the pursuit of excellence, and the very last, righteous anger. So let's look at the first 2, unflinching integrity and undiluted honesty. The word integrity comes from the Latin word integer, meaning whole. Nicky Gumbel, the visionary of the Alpha Course, that has won several global acclaim and awards, describes integrity as an undivided life, a wholeness that comes from qualities such as honesty and consistency of character. It means we act according to the values, beliefs, and principles we claim to and that we hold dear. The Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces in Western Europe during World War II more poignantly said, "The supreme quality for leadership is unquestionably integrity. Without it, no real success is possible, no matter whether it is on a football field, in an army, or in an office." Integrity is not convenient. It is not easy. It can be difficult. Sometimes it's just easier to play ball. But as a reformer that intends to be part of this new army, you cannot play ball. You have to be prepared to walk down the road less traveled. And closely tied to this is undiluted honesty. No white lies, no half-truths, no embellishments. It is nothing but the truth, no matter the cost. We have to become a people who are willing to fall on their swords. And falling on your sword is what the Japanese call the harakiri. And I'm going to talk some more about this later. It also means that you have no plan B. It is not everyone that has the capability not to cave in. I see not having a plan B as an outward manifestation of an inner strength. When you don't have a plan B, you have within you the ability to withstand pressure and undue hardship rather than buckle under that pressure. And you know what? This is something sadly missing in many of us, but it's a required quality in a reformer. Back in ancient Rome, committing suicide by falling on one's sword became an actual practice. The Japanese samurai custom took it to another level, as it became an act of great honor to commit suicide by disembowelment with a sword rather than face the dishonor of surrender. In England, it became an expression that was widely used following the resignation of Lord Peter Carrington, who resigned from his post as Foreign Secretary for the Thatcher government in 1982. He was one of the last high-profile politicians in the United Kingdom to take personal responsibility in such circumstances. I remember so vividly how I offered to fall on my sword for the very first time in early 2004. I made a grievous mistake as the head of one of the key divisions in one of the largest banks in the country. The uproar that followed that mistake was deafening, and it was not going away. All the good work that we had done as a unit over the last 12 months was about to be totally destroyed by this singular error. I refused to make excuses. I felt I needed to take full responsibility for the incidents. I was ready to walk away and to fall on my sword. And this was not going to be easy because I was doing a job that I really, really loved. I just finished my master's program at London Business School, and I was invited to be part of this key team that was going to play a major role in turning around this organization. And here I was making a significant error. So I offered to fall. The offer, thankfully, was rejected. The then chief executive stood up for me and the matter was resolved. And I continued serving in my role. In another situation, I was asked to do something that could severely affect the board if I didn't do it. If I did it, I would be in the good books of the institution. I was being offered a promotion to a very senior position. I was at a crossroads. I asked for an hour. It was an hour to reflect and to think deeply about my values and about my beliefs, about what I stood for and believed in. I returned after that hour and offered to fall on my sword. This time I fell. I was asked to leave the organization because I refused to compromise. We have to be ready to stand for what we are willing to die for. A life of no compromise is not a walk in the park. It will cost you something. It will cost you your reputation, your job, your life. It also brings you great reward. Remember Nelson Mandela or William Wilberforce. It comes with a price, but it comes with great, great reward.